Team Liquid. So he's actually worked with Yeon for 3 full years. And even when he was on the Challenger and Academy coaching staff, he would occasionally move up. Like, he was coaching with Team Liquid throughout their Worlds run last year as well. So it's really cool to see him here on the LCS stage as we get into the first pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And over on the other side, it's Revan, who's going to be coaching for Shopify Rebellion, came over from TSM. Someone that a lot of people have good things to say about, but it's going to be APA bringing out the Azir. This is one of the picks that I've heard criticisms levied towards him on.
Yeah.
It is about as meta gets.
Yep.
So it's one of those things that he really needs to be able to perform on, because the criticisms of APA are that he's really good at these niche champions, but if you take him away, he starts to falter.
And I think whether or not he can succeed on picks like Azir is, again, going to be one of the things that passes or fails Team Liquid for this split, because he needs to be that control mage guy. And in order to be that control mage guy, you have to play the signature picks of your role. I'd want to say it's like a jungler who doesn't play Lee Sin or a top laner who doesn't play Ornn. Sure, you can find success, but it's just going to have to be abnormal, and it's going to make your team play in a different way. So this is clearly what looks to be a goal for Team Liquid. I know APA has practiced a lot of Azir in solo queue and champions queue, and now he's going to have to succeed with it on stage.
And Turtle going to be grabbing the Lucian again. This guy has a storied history in the LCS. He played the Lucian yesterday with Zeyzal's Nami, did really, really well, but he's been around in the LCS for 10 years. This guy has been crushing it. And you look at the historic stats here for him. First in kills in the LCS, first in games played, second in pentas. He is up there across the board, third in total wins. He has been doing it and doing it at a high level for an incredibly long time.
I just love seeing WildTurtle on stage. I love seeing him get kills. He was 5-1 in that game yesterday. He was hugely successful. Unfortunately, just couldn't close. So really, it will be a sad day when we can no longer see WildTurtle's face in the LCS. And even for Shopify Rebellion, he wasn't the announced starter for this team. B-Boy is also going to be on the roster. He's just had some issues getting everything sorted for him. So we might be seeing some swaps in that position throughout the split. So big, really big game for WildTurtle here to make a big impression on Revan and the fan base so we can keep this starting roster spot.
Absolutely. That could be the difference between getting to play next week or not, is how he performs today. Another person with a lot of eyes on them is FakeGod. Raz was pointing him out as he thinks FakeGod is who's next. And FakeGod did talk about how he wanted to approach this year differently. And this is a quote that he did bring up. The FakeGod that played for Dig LCS was scared, uncertain, and directionless. The FakeGod now relies on himself more and has more determination to win, never wants to go down without fighting again. So he's really trying to shift his mindset as he re-enters the LCS. This is someone who won the NACL twice on 2 different orgs. He's done basically everything you could do at that level, and now wants to come to the LCS and prove that he can play with the big dogs, and he's going to be going up against Impact here, who really is that test. This guy has stood the test of time, has been at the top of the league in this top lane for so long.
And I especially think at this stage of the LCS's life, and this stage of competitive League of Legends, top lane's a very, very unforgiving place. Because yesterday, he played against Bwipo, a guy who's played in a world final, has a massive champion pool, is super random about the game, right? Like yesterday, his enemy top laner started at his jungler's red buff and completely took his jungler out of the game. Today, he's against Impact, who's won a world championship. It's like, by the way, you have to be this tall to play LCS top lane? That's really tall. These guys are hugely accomplished.
It is insanely difficult up there in the top lane. More bans coming through. Kalista, Yone, Vi. A lot of dive being banned away here by TL. As it's clear, they're wanting to try to protect their carries. Will be interesting to see where they go with the bot lane, but obviously APA could be vulnerable. We saw River on the Vi really wreaking havoc on APA, who was playing the Ziggs in that game. Also interesting, this Rumble has been one of the most banned champions around the world. I believe it's the 3rd most banned, just behind Ashe and Nocturne. So it getting through, that'll be an interesting test here for FakeGod, who we're assuming is going to be playing this. And Corki Azir will be the matchup in the mid lane. Corki, getting a lot more popular, it feels like, this patch.
Yeah, and it's also a Corki Azir thing. It's a matchup as old as time, but specifically the Corki build that we're seeing now,
Malignant.
I'm really curious to see when Malignance is built on it, because it's either second item, which makes you a fair bit weaker at 2 items, but when you really turn on is when you're at 3 items. Like Malignance, Eclipse, Triforce are very important items, Manamune as well, so I want to see what combination of items he goes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Malignance, reducing the cooldown of his rockets, making his rockets have a little bit more of a persistent burn, playing a pokier, slower game is the type of thing you get to have when you pick Corki mid.
Well, and TL is playing about as standard gets. You have these 2 frontliners here. It's going to be Udyr top, Poppy jungle is what we're expecting. 2 hyper carries here with the Azir and the Zeri, and then the Lulu to support things. So they're looking to team fight very clearly. On the other side, we do have quite a bit of team fighting power, especially if you're thinking playing around package. You have the Rumble Equalizer. You have this kind of mid-game skirmishy comp, with the Lucian and the Nami, but it does feel like there's more pressure on them to get things done early and in the mid-game. But the Trundle will throw a little bit of a wrench in the gears here, because Trundle jungle is actually coming back into popularity, and the only competitive build we're seeing from Udyr is full tank. And if you go full tank, you get incredible value from stealing the stats with the ultimate. You're making him both a lot squishier, and you're turning yourself into a super tank.
Yeah, Impact yesterday did play Udyr. He played the full tank variant. Whippo did build Trinity Force as his first item on Udyr. I think that would more likely be what Impact goes this game. We'll obviously have to see, though, because that Shopify Rebellion team, they got outscaled yesterday when they played against FlyQuest. They don't necessarily want that to happen again. The Corki Trundle is going to be a big insurance policy as they move towards the late game. It's going to be fairly difficult for Team Liquid to punish, so I'm really curious to see how they pilot this. There's not that much hard engage for Shopify. Everyone is kind of long range. Like, you could kind of say Lucian Nami ends up being your engage because you're trying to get the Nami Lucian synergy with mid lane control, but it's going to be a little tricky for them to find fights. They're going to have to play very clean.
Exactly. I mean, I think, you can play around Trundle pillar, throw down the pillar, you land Corki poke off that, you potentially are in, getting some damage out. But the reality is, if you fall behind in that sort of a composition and you're fighting front to back, you're going to get ran over by the Azir, by the Zeri, who are going to have this protection of that Lulu, are going to have the protection of those frontliners. So some pressure here on Shopify, and Team Liquid kind of going back to tried and true here with the scaling, the team fighting that served them well for many years in the LCS.
It really has. Zeri, Lulu, something that the AD carries are always very excited to play. But I'd say at least in the last 5 years for CoreJJ, hasn't been that successful. CoreJJ has found the majority of his success on hard engaged champions and being a shot caller. But it's a weird thing to say because he won a world championship with Ardent Sensor.
Yep.
So he has been individually very skilled on enchanters, but the teams that he has been a part of have not been able to function properly without CoreJJ's go button. So it's something, again, if they want to get to the top level, much like the Azir mid for APA, that they want to be able to play. But it's not something that they have done well with in the last several years.
I agree completely, and I think as a result, it's a good test for Umti. Coming in, it's a good test for Impact, coming back to the team, right? Can they be those go buttons? Can they fulfill that function? Because absolutely, in the last while on TL, it's not that CoreJJ can't play these champions, as you say, he's good individually, but the team has really felt sometimes directionless without him on those engaged champions, without him calling the shots, starting the fights. So we'll see if this does work out for them. Yeon and CoreJJ, the only bot lane in the LCS to stay completely together. Every single other one changed at least one part, if not 2 parts. So they are the only bot lane that was around last year, and I do think that gives them a bit of an edge coming out the gate here because they have that built-in synergy, so you're expecting them to be able to perform.
That's an amazing
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, that there's been that much turnover in the bottom lane. Doublelift was saying yesterday, though, that he thinks the bot support synergy is slightly overrated by the community. There's obviously benefits, but you kind of know the matchups, you know how you're supposed to play, and then it's all about, like, you also need, like, AD carry top laner synergy, because you need a guy to be a proper tank, and you need proper backline damage with your mid lane. So continuity's still good, but maybe a little overrated.
Yep. We'll see, though. We are on to the Rift here for the first game of day 2 of the LCS 2024 spring here. It's been a lot of fun for me so far. I've just been enjoying how significantly the game has actually changed for the first time in a couple of years. It feels like a bit of a breath of fresh air, kind of relearning how the game should be played at the pro level. These teams have different approaches. They're trying to figure out, okay, where do you ward now? Where do you look for traps? What is most important to play towards? And not everyone agrees just yet. So it's been kind of fun to see that develop throughout the leagues around the world.
I completely agree, man. And another thing that I've weirdly enjoyed, even though I didn't enjoy it in December, was the fact that the patch wasn't even really available to play until the 10th of January. It carries the freshness through to the competitive season, because in previous years, the preseason would hit in like November, all the broken stuff would come out. We'd never get to see it from the best players on stage. You just get to complain about it on Reddit. And then by the time the game started, it was gone. But now I feel like as things are being discovered, we're seeing them on stage.
We've got a level 1 invade though. Insanity already collapsing. Umti does not get the smite. So Bugi gets that. Umti's going to be chunked down.
He's level 2.
He will be able to get out, but this is going to be a leashless start on Wolves at about 2 minutes. Already having used his potion there, so Umti going to be put pretty far behind. Shopify handled that invade very, very well. Insanity just collapsed, and straight up, it's just down to that smite fight. Bugi wins it.
Was that actually the plan? Like, I'm just trying to think. I'm hoping that they thought that... I'd have to go back and check if they actually had eyes on Bugi before they went for the Raptors, because I could see, like, yes, Raptors start, deny it,
I don't think they
go
did.
into the rest of the map, because investing 2 wards, investing that time, not getting the smite, just immediately puts you at such a big disadvantage as Poppy jungle.
I think the hope was that they could utilize the power of the Udyr. You know, this early Udyr is really, really strong in some of these skirmishes.
He's getting invaded now.
Yeah, and he's going to be met at that red buff. Umti knows he can't actually fight at the red buff, so he's just going to have to go down. That ward in that side brush around mid lane should have actually spotted the Trundle, but it is going to mean he has to give up his red buff. He is going to have to backtrack back up towards that top side to be able to clear this out, and Umti going to be behind from the word go.
I do wonder how aggressive Umti is going to want to play this, though, because yes, he's going to be down red, but if Yeon and Core are able to keep pushing this in this lane, would Umti... Nah, there's no way he'd invade the blue buff. He has to actually just take his lumps, I would think.
Yeah.
But he's moving towards the bottom lane, which makes me think he might try to move into the jungle. They don't even have mid-prio Azael.
Yeah, I think this would be incredibly risky. It depends on where his read is on where Trundle would go next. So if he feels like he can run into him and maybe smite it away or do something, there is a possibility.
He's got a level advantage because he's actually taken different camps than Bugi has. So he's hit level 3.
He's just going to wait for Scuttle. So he saw him. He decides not to go in. But at the very least, exactly, he did push Bugi off the blue, so he's going to start Scuttle up on spawn. At the end of the day, won't be that far behind. I don't think it's going to be that big of a big deal. He loses his first red. But Impact, we can see, looked like he was proxying over on the other side. So we've been seeing a lot more of that from these Udyrs.
I'm actually willing to say he's recovered, because the red buff's going to be expiring from Bugi in about a minute, and the experience is very close. Plus, he's going to be able to help APA push this mid wave.
Especially if he double scuttles, which is what he's looking to do.
He should be able to double scuttle, so it's great. He hasn't even lost his efficiency that much, and good job by Umti.
Yep, the Rumble is pushing up top, so Impact has to get back up there and be ready to support. Bugi will be spotted, moving in across the ward. So Core and Yeon have to run. The heal going to be popped for the move speed. There's the pillar, but Yeon saved the dash and is just going to be able to dash right over top of it. So well handled there by TL. The ward will keep them safe, and that means no problem for Umti. Double scuttle on that top side. Turtle, though, going forward, does use Ignite really aggressively here on a Core, chunking him down about 30% HP. Remember, the heal is already missing, so Core's going to have to go back to base here. And Shopify is going to look to try to push out this wave. Yeon has to be somewhat respectful. They see Turtle moving forward. Yeon going to get chunked down. The barrier's used. Now they're trying to turn around on Turtle. The bubble's going to miss from Zeyzal, and that will push Turtle back, who's pretty much dead to him. And now this gets awkward, and Bugi is running down here. This is important because he has to cover them, at least make sure they can push this all the way in. We'll see if they want to go for a dive. I think it would be way too risky, but they are staying around, so they're at least considering it.
A bit of miscommunication, I feel like. You could see Bugi saw there was a lot of action, didn't know how spicy it was actually going to get, but Turtle and Zeyzal, specifically no mana. Even if they had more health, no mana is not going to let them do the fatal damage they need under the turret. So Bugi's going to be able to counter jungle Krugs off of this, but I think overall would wish he didn't go down there.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward also because it delays Turtle's base, right? He actually had to stop that base. Bugi is behind them, though, and Zeyzal is holding the wave, so Bugi can walk in, and this could be a dead CoreJJ, or at very least a flash. He just needs to walk in, hold the pillar till after the flash, potentially. We'll see if he wants to just commit it.
Flash Qs, okay, he can still, I think he's still killed.
He's dead, yep. Yeah, he's gonna get it. Bugi gonna be able to chomp him down. This is an easy first blood for Shopify Rebellion. The troll claims that Bugi gets in behind him. They weren't expecting him to be back on the Krugs respawn. Umti will try to trade it back over on the other side. But it's good early moves here from Shopify.
Yeah, a little bit of a lack of respect from Core and Yeon there. They wanted to push an extra wave in before recalling, likely to get the Noon Quiver for Yeon, and they were just risking it. They're flipping it. The Bugi didn't stick around. They flipped wrong. Luckily, though, with the grubs, when stuff happens bottom lane around 5 minutes, you get to trade. They get 3 grubs. That means they're 2 grubs away from being able to spoil the little grublings when they hit the turret. There's a better name for them.
Void Mites.
Void Mites. I like grublings.
I kind of do like grublings
Void Mites
more,
is a
I'm not
good
gonna
name.
lie.
I should stick to the vernacular, but
You're
Void
your own
Mites.
man. It could be grublings if you want, you know?
I mean,
just got to say it with
Flowers
confidence.
was calling him Ed, Ed, and Eddie yesterday.
Exactly.
Which is fine. And it looks like they're going to trade it for the Drake as well. So trades all around.
Yep. So Bugi playing more heavily down towards this bottom lane. Turtle, again, had a really good Lucian game yesterday. Did start Stormrazor, went into that rapid fire. FakeGod in trouble, though. Umti trying to get behind him. The tackle comes in. He's overheating. He's silenced. And I don't think he's got any way out. The equalizer will drop, but not going to do much of anything. TL strike back on the top side.
Wow, what a huge gank right there. And just absolutely tragic overheat timing from FakeGod. He was a level up. That was a level 4 Poppy ganking a level 7 Rumble. How many times have you seen the Rumble just pop the equalizer, sit it with the Flame Spitter, and burn them both?
Yeah.
But because he was overheated, it was the perfect time to gank, and he falls pretty easily.
Yep, and that is that difficulty. You have to be really on point with your heat management. Would have been tough to escape either way. An insult to injury, he had used the flash as well.
Yeah.
At the very least, the wave had already crashed, so he's not going to lose more minions there. Double ward, unfortunately, expended by Shopify. They are spotting Umti, and we'll have to back it up. Trundle is in that bot side river, but not too close just yet. And both teams aware of where the junglers are, as Bugi was clearing out a ward there. But will start to move down towards this bottom side. He knows he needs to cover them, but Yeon in trouble, crashes back. Will they go forward? The Ignites have just been committed so aggressively by Turtle, and I love that.
Yeah.
He knows it's going to guarantee them a heavily winning trade. He knows it's going to push them back, so even if you can't get lethal damage, I mean, the barrier and the heal were still available, you're going to push him back and deny experience, deny that gold, and even guarantee at least one plate.
Turtle Zeyzal playing very aggressive bot lane both days. They had a good 2v2 kill yesterday against FlyQuest bot lane. They controlled the mid lane throughout a lot of that game just with the Lucian Nami threat, and getting the pressure in this lane, getting the early plate, and also just allowing Bugi to cycle this red buff. This is the 2nd consecutive red buff steal he's being able to get. It's Shopify playing through WildTurtle, the old veteran, and finding some success.
I mean, they're playing it really intelligently. You always love to see the next step. You get one advantage, what else can you get from it? You get the advantage bot, then it's the red. That is the pressure in towards mid lane as well. And Bugi, because he got that early kill, was able to get the really early Tiamat, which speeds up your clear so much on Trundle, really helps with those AoE camps. And we can see now, FakeGod getting pushed back here. Impact already has a ton of MR, has the cowl and a null on top. Sork boots are going to be nothing because of that.
Yeah.
And this is going to mean FakeGod, you know, with that early death, with no equalizer, he's going to be getting bullied a bit here by Impact, but we'll see if Umti can get anything done. Spots Bugi, but not a duel.
The Trundle wins the 1v1 very easily. It's all about just a possible smite steal and not really knowing where everyone else is. You can see Azir is recalling, but for all Bugi knows, Azir could be on his way. Udyr is also actually on his way, so Bugi has to give this up even if he wins the 1v1 because his teammates are supporting him.
Yeah, and he hasn't spent his gold in a long time, so he should have a ton in pocket. Impact will take a couple of those little Krugs. Bugi gonna go back to base and now should be able to spend up all his gold. And I imagine he has like at least, I don't know, probably close to 1,000. He's been out on the map for quite a long time here. We'll see though.
Yeah, you can see it right there. 800 for Umti.
Okay, yeah.
Bugi just purchased, so...
Yeah, he bought the Tunneler, so yeah, had about 1,000 gold.
They are definitely prepping a dive here. FakeGod doesn't have flash, even if he can pump a lot of damage.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to burst him down very easily. The equalizer came out, but it's not going to mean anything as FakeGod knocked down under the turret, overheated again, had no flash, had no way out. Nicely done here from TL, focusing back towards that top side. And Umti, despite the rough start, has been very good at getting back into this game. Shopify knows they're over on these Krugs, but Impact is still here. APA has come over as well.
They really want to 6-scrub him here. It's very hard to contest at the moment. Is package up for Insanity?
Insanity is coming and he has the package. This could be a big fight. But they already got 5, so now they have the Void Might spawns. Will Insanity be committing to this? He's going to go in with the package. The flash out early here from Umti, but Insanity potentially in trouble. The second Valkyrie is just used to retreat as Impact going to push him back there. Shopify will deny the 6th Void Might here, the 6th grub, but 5 is really all you need. That gets you the 1 spawn when you just get near that tower. You know, even if you're a melee chimp, you don't even have to hit the tower. You just have to get in range of it to be able to chip away. And going to be really happy about that. So a lot of success for TL on this top side, and it's really going to be kind of this story of two lanes. Are the slight advantages that Turtle and Zeyzal were able to carve out on that bottom side enough? You know, they got the plate, they almost have a second, but at the end of the day, you know, Yeon is staying close in farm. You have Zeri, you have Azir, they're farming it up, the top side is stable.
Exactly.
And TL are in a good spot.
Yeah, I was gonna ask who you think you would rather be right now.
TL
and
for
it
sure.
is hard to say, but I think it's TL mainly because, like, we're saying it's a top bot trade, but it's not really a top bot trade. It's not like Yeon is behind in farm. So the Zeri Lulu will be very strong late. And I'm expecting now with the 5 grub buff, as well as the 2-kill Poppy and the far ahead and stacking MR Udyr, they're gonna be able to pressure the map really well, which will get the game late enough for Yeon to turn on. That's at least where this game is trending. So many things could blow up. We're literally only 12 minutes into the game, but right now I think Team Liquid's in a slightly favorable position.
Yeah, I like their position for sure. I mean, Shopify got a Dragon on bot side, got a plate on bottom side, you know, but the CS, as you say, is even, so it's really not a lot. Nice smite there, comes down from Bugi, gonna be able to secure it. Umti tackling him, pushing him out. Thinks better of committing towards that Gromp. He knows that Shopify's bot lane will be returning here pretty shortly. You can see Insanity going towards that Muramana, stacking that up. Does have an extra longsword, so likely going to be going towards the Eclipse here as a second item, and then probably Malignant's third, which I believe was your preferred build.
Yeah, I think I like seeing Trinity Force in there somewhere, but
so it could be Triforce second still.
It's really tricky because Eclipse is great now. Like, it's no longer this armor pen, like, Omnivamp item. It's just the stats that Corki likes. It's ability, haste, AD, and then a shield. But this is a Dragon coming up
starting out here.
Shopify started, but they don't have package, and it's going to be a 4v4 very soon.
And Impact is running down. He's way ahead of the play, so Shopify Rebellion have got to start this immediately and finish it off, or they're going to just lose control completely because there's no TP available for FakeGod. And Umti gets the rejection. It's going to be TL's Dragon. Shopify, their only real edge was that one Dragon on the bottom side. They wanted to continue to stack it. Impact had the first move, though, and it's a great ult here from Umti, who has really recovered well off this failed invade. He's 2-0, securing objectives, making plays happen around that top side, and he's ahead in gold now as well.
Yeah, and the amount of time that Umti has just spent, I want to say, like, in Shopify Rebellion's head is really high, because he's constantly been invading. Even the failed invade at level 1 with Raptors changes the way that Shopify approaches the game. And he's invaded so many times, he's taken so many objectives, and he's just had a really good game.
Oh, Yeon gonna pop the ulti, trying to chase down Turtle. He felt he had overextended. Looking to punish him. Bugi is here, and they know it, so not gonna be able to go too far. But a bit of trading here back and forth. It was the heal expended by CoreJJ as Yeon's gonna escort Bugi out of there. But they're turning around now.
He's got E.
Yeah, he has the E, so he's fine. He was just trying to wait the timing. As long as you don't get nervous there as the Zeri, you can get pillared out of the E if they're really, really quick. So that is what Bugi was trying to look for, but Yeon just waits. Once the pillar's down, you can E over both it and the terrain because it's connected. And Umti immediately on the top side, just going back for another objective. So all this pressure down towards bot, not feeling like it's really getting enough for Shopify because Umti is always trading back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Team Liquid's just playing really good defense. They've only lost 1 plate. They haven't died. WildTurtle is getting some very good trades in.
Yeah, the ulti coming out there from the Nami won't connect, but Yeon again going to be pushed back. And it has constantly felt like the pressure is very heavily on WildTurtle and Zeyzal's side, but it's just not expressing itself in a big enough lead. They maybe got that second plate. I'm not actually sure because the plates have now expired. That turret getting somewhat low, and they will be able to work away on it. We can't see the health bar just yet, but I can see it in the Spectator client. It's down to about a 3rd HP, so they won't be able to finish it off before Impact does come in, and it's going to try to look to push them back. It is the Kanik Rooker and Rush here for Impact, so that is that magic shield that you see on his health bar. If you haven't been hit for, I believe it's 12 seconds, then it does recharge, and it scales with your HP. So against the Corki, against the Rumble, it is incredibly good. It allows you to just kind of soak poke for your team.
Yet, I'll say right now, he's up against a Lucian and a Trundle who are going to push the turret down. So he's not going to be able to defend that turret.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We'll see if he's just forced to equalize the wave. I feel like he needs to make a run for it, but now it's going to be too late as Umti
goes
for the stun. Not going to be able to find it. Turtle on the bot side does knock down a tower. Good flash from FakeGod, as you called out, will allow him to survive as TL, we're wrapping around behind him. but they don't have a wave, so they can't actually get much more than that until just now.
And I'm not in the client myself, but I believe that's an experimental hexplate by Yeon, so a little bit of extra durability in the Zeri build. I think once he gets to late game anyway, he's going to be online, so he's just trying to make sure he doesn't get completely bursted down. Nice stun.
Slams him out of the Valkyrie, knocks him up, Insanity in trouble. Will have to try to pull back. The heal comes through from Zeyzal and will stabilize. Insanity not going to panic, won't expend the flash, does stay alive. It is that experimental hex play, as you say, which gives you the bonus move speed and attack speed. 35% attack speed, 15% move speed. So synergizing with the extra move speed you're already getting during your ultimate for Zeri, a lot of people really do like those kind of combos. Another champion you're seeing it so popular on is Nocturne, again, guaranteeing the tether out of the ulti. It can be really popular on things like Trundle, like Nasus, so it does really have its uses. It's not, you know, a generalist item, but when you want to go fast during the ulti, it is good. And APA, a swing and a miss as Bugi just walks it out.
Yeah, and let's check in on APA Insanity. It's kind of like a standard Corki Azir game.
Exactly even, and nothing has happened.
10 CS per minute, 0-0-0. So the interesting thing is the builds. Let's see what they're doing. And honestly, the majority of the Azirs that I've seen in the last couple days have been going Nashor's Lichbane. Yeah. So APA, a little bit less bursty, a little bit more overall damage, and I can understand it when he's going to be going up against Trundle, but what do you think about this choice?
So it is interesting, right? It's a much higher DPS build. You know, looking around the world, there had been like one Lichbane built in LCK, one Lichbane built in LEC. Most people were still doing this standard higher DPS build of the Leandries plus the Nashors. You know, so this may just be comfort for him. The Lichbane obviously does give you that additional burst, and it's something that is starting to pop up as Shopify maybe going to face check Yeon. Yeon won't fully commit as Bugi is there with him, but a nice little chunk won't mean too much. Umti, though, going to try to zone them out and see if they can actually use this to knock down the tower. Remember, they have 5 of those grubs, so the Void Mites will spawn.
I like the way TL's playing. It seems like they're getting a lot of map pressure, even though they're up against the Lucian Nami, who kind of turned on with what used to be 2 mythics, but literally just your first 2 major completed items gives them huge pick potential.
Package is here, though, so Insanity is king of the map right now. APA gonna have to flash out of there as Turtle getting spicy with it. You've got to play aggressive. Every time the Ignite is up, he's looking for these beneficial traits. Insanity looking to threaten the dive here. He could come from behind them. Looking for APA. Chunks him low with a big one, but here comes the package in across multiple. Yeon forced to flash out, and he's getting burst down, but the shields come through from Core, and will be enough to keep Yeon alive with the barrier and the shield, pushing Turtle back. But that is 4 summoners off of the bot lane there from TL, courtesy of Insanity, who comes flying in from the Raptors pit.
These teams are going at it. Like when WildTurtle flies in, APA stands there and fights. When you get the Corki package, you could see Yeon was standing there and trying to trade damage back. And now even with the Dragon being taken down, Impact is thinking about making his way in. Yeon and Core are coming for base. They might look to fight.
Well. We'll see if he can get in range fast enough. Umti may just be there. It's down to 2K, but they haven't got it just yet. It's going to be a smite fight. The Equalizer is dropped. Turtle's in the midst of everyone, and Turtle has to run, but Impact getting burst down. And look at Insanity on the side, just raining hellfire down on TL, knocking them down. They get the 1 kill, but it is the Dragon for TL, so they're going to be pretty happy with the trade at the end of the day.
They're going to be very happy they were able to steal that one, but it's also kind of showing that this game is going to be a pretty close one, because you saw Impact there run in. He got hit by the Trundle ultimate, and then he just died.
Yeah.
So he's building full tank. It's what he did yesterday, but I think there's a lot of people talking, at least from who I've spoken to, Doublelift yesterday, Licorice today, who kind of think you got to build some damage on anyone. And that's not what's happening with Impact's Udyr here. So while the tankiness does allow him the initial approach, once this fight starts, he's not that tanky.
Yeah, and it's kind of the double whammy of making Bugi so much more tanky as well.
Yeah. I'm just double checking that it was actually Impact who got ulted, not Umti, because I think Umti's the one who got ulted. So this was through full tank. That wasn't even an ulted Udyr there. It's going to make him even squishier when he does get hit by it.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle is very strong right now. Some armor being picked up by Impact, but he did obviously go heavily towards MR. He rushed Kanik Rooker, and he is playing Boots of Swiftness and has that extra null in his back pocket as well. You can see on the other side, Bugi did rush the Titanic Hydra, really strong on Trundle. Spectre's Cowl as that second pickup. Spirit Visage becomes really, really popular because of all the self-healing that you do have, especially with that ulti.
Yeah.
It also kind of just turns him into that super tank himself because you're stealing so many of the stats. You're not just shredding your opponent, you're making yourself that much tankier. And if you can pillar out the back line as Yeon says, thanks for the leash, bud. Steal it away from... That's a tilter, man. Every time that happens, it just feels so bad to the jungler.
I also think the more LCS I watch, the more I think that emote usage is directly correlated with your age. Like, the younger you are, the more likely you are to be able to use emotes in League of Legends.
When you're 30 plus, you don't have the extra APM to be spamming emotes.
Exactly.
Jatt.
Like, you only have a certain number of clicks in your life, and you're not willing to waste them on emotes.
Yeah. At 30, I mean, you're an esports grandpa at that point. You gotta be preserving those clicks.
Like, CoreJJ hasn't emoted the whole game.
How many does he have left?
He's making sure he can play a long time.
Saving himself an extra couple years, you know?
Yeah.
Keeping those wrists alive, but Shopify here looking to push in. Yeon gonna be forced to dash out, and it's a nice trade again onto Umti. Turtle enforcing as well, playing this rapid fire build again. Also did go towards the Blood Song, so did go for this double support item thing that we've seen a lot. It's the same thing he did yesterday. Really playing heavily around these initial trades, right? You dash in the Bloodsong Sheen proc, you have the Rapid Fire proc, you have the Stormrazor proc, so it's all this initial upfront damage plus the Nami E that allows you to really get these bursty trades, but you can't play passively. You must play aggressively every single time those energized procs are up.
I think it's also just a pretty broken combo. They now have double sight stones pretty easily. He's been able to actually generate gold from this item. By the time he pushed it into the game, the support item CS penalty is very forgiving, so he's very unlikely to hit penalty at any point in this game.
Yeah, Bugi in some trouble here potentially, but they're going to turn around onto Umti as the ulti's going to get popped, and then Cole comes through, and Turtle knocks him down, but now everyone is arriving. Impact in the backline. Shopify trying to chase after him as Yeon is trying to keep these ulti stacks up here. The heal is going to be used for the move speed, but they're going to turn around onto the barrier, has to be popped, and APA will knock down Turtle. Impact on the run here. There's no escaping the Udyr. The slows come through. Insanity tries to turn on APA, but he doesn't have enough in the tank. Zeyzal's got no way out. Bugi trying to buy him some time with the pillar, but Impact is there, and Impact gets another kill, and they can look to turn on the Baron, but FakeGod drops the equalizer, has them chunk low, trying to prevent the take here. But the chunk out onto FakeGod just makes this that much more difficult. Do they still start it up? Impact says yes. The rest of TL says no, and we'll head back to base.
Ooh, I thought that was going to be Baron, but I believe FakeGod's equalizer stopped him from doing it. Still a huge play for Team Liquid, and if you talk to Impact, he's going to say that's why I'm going full tank. Because he was an unstoppable force chasing down Shopify, slowing them the entire time. The beginning of this did look very good for Shopify. You can see Trundle goes down on Umti. That allows Turtle to burst, and then he's out of there. But the long fight is where Zeri and Zeri and Lulu want to succeed. Yeon keeps them busy, gets a big chunk. Impact takes that extra pass through the modified Baron pit, and then shows off those mechanics, sidestepping 2 bubbles in a row, doesn't let himself get CC'd, and is able to clean up the fight. And now they're starting to
there's a package though on Insanity, so this could be risky here. Impact is keeping it leashed. He's not certain that they need to leave, but the rest of TL is backing off. Impact now looking, does get the stun. Insanity in trouble, didn't want to use the package, and now has to use it defensively. That is huge, as Impact able to force that out. And I've got to say, Impact's team fighting in the last one was amazing as well. That Phoenix ulti slowing them all around, not hard committing to the fight, just staying in that back line, constantly harassing and slowing Shopify on the retreat, making it so that Yeon could catch up, so that APA could catch up. I felt that made all the difference. And TL going to be able to grab the Dragon on the bout side, and FakeGod, just no way out. He can run you down for sure. Turtle, though, in trouble, and he's going to be burst down by Yeon. Zap goes the Zeri, and Turtle sent back to base.
Impact basically 2v1ing up top as well. Bugi having to go up there just to save his life. Otherwise, Impact, I think, would have slowly ran him down. Also, soul point for Team Liquid. It's really turning in their favor. WildTurtle made a lot of big plays throughout this game, but getting caught there is quite costly. Team Liquid going to push down mid while he's still gone.
It's tough because Turtle had made good play after good play after good play, but they didn't result in big advantages. They just resulted in tempo. They resulted in chunks. They weren't resulting in kills. They weren't snowballing to the point where it's, okay, you got a kill. Now you're even way more ahead. Now you got another kill in a tower. Now you got the Dragons. It never resulted in enough, and FakeGod looking for APA. Just going to be using that equalizer mostly to clean out that wave, as Shopify trying to regain some control here in their own jungle. But TL hanging around. That one will go to Bugi, as it was in the brush and no vision there for Umti. But Shopify have got to continue playing aggressive. They're hoping that Insanity, when he gets this Malignance online, can maybe do some work with the poke. But I feel like a lot of pressure is going to be on him. Feels like he's got to be the one to carry this game if they are to win it.
Well, he does, because we're thinking about the way that Shopify needs to engage fights, and up until this point, it's basically been, okay, Lucian, hop in there, make something happen. And it's getting harder and harder because the return damage from TL is so high now that they can probably just kill Lucian whenever he dashes in. So then I think they're actually in this really awkward point in the game because Insanity needs to have Malignance for his ultimate to do better damage. That's when the poke will actually potentially be threatening enough to force Team Liquid to engage. But as of now, Team Liquid can just keep pushing waves. They can kind of just stand there and slowly gain advantages because in order for Shopify to start a fight, they have to overcommit. And since they're weaker, they'll then lose the fight. So Team Liquid in a great spot.
And you can see that rocket, that big one on the CoreJJ, did about 45-50% of his health. So did chunk him down very low. Gonna chunk some potions, try to heal back up. Is Umti going for, but APA in the back line shuffles him back. And TL going crazy in this fight. Yeon still very healthy. Insanity's got to run, but he's got no Valkyrie and he's got no way out. TL get the kills. 2 for 0. They're heading to the Baron, and this one surely is going to be theirs. FakeGod going to be scrapping with Impact, but Impact can just walk it out. He doesn't need to commit to this. His team has already won the fight off the back of that beautiful engage from APA. Sweeps into the Shopify backline and crushes them. Oh.
Not even close. That was a very confidence-inspiring fight for APA. He's had a couple ultimates this game that didn't necessarily seem like they were the best, but that's a game-changing type of play. You don't need to make many of those to win LCS games, and that's one for APA where Umti looked a little psychotic at the start of it because he was like 1v4 at the red buff with the Trundle, possibly getting bursted down, but it draws them in just enough that APA can swoop in underneath. Great team play by Team Liquid.
Yeah, Shopify though, got to stay out on the map. Umti looking for Bugi, but Bugi going to be able to walk this one out. And yeah, it's the plays are not created equal. You can make 10 good plays in a row, but if you make them at a time when it doesn't result in something more,
exactly,
it doesn't really matter. Making that big play over by the Baron where your team can follow up, that is huge for APA. Umti lying in wait here, trying to see if they can bait anyone in. Yeon fishing around on the side as well. Umti going to get chunked out here a little, but it's very difficult for Shopify to move their way in. They know they need to reclaim vision somehow, but APA is pushing through that bot lane. Remember, it is a 5 Void Grub game. Those Void Knights are going to be spawning. The turrets are going to be that much squishier as a result. APA just keeping this buffed up, and Umti doing a good job bouncing between the lanes, protecting his carries.
Yeah, it's a little interesting that he's the one split because they could maybe jump on him, but he's able to repel the fight pretty easily there just by using his ultimate. If I'm Shopify right now, I'm trying to give every single CS to Insanity. I don't want anybody else taking gold from him because he needs to be able to finish Malignance within the next minute so they have a chance to poke against this Hextech Drake. That's the only window they have back into this game.
Getting 16 would be so big as well, but he's not going to have time. You know, getting that rank 3 ultimate is massive for Corki. You can start to play around the Nami Corki duo much more than that Lucian. Shopify at least looking to reclaim some of that vision. Nice little chunk from Turtle as he dashes forward, but it may be TL looking to turn around. A great bubble, going to deny any opportunity for Umti to start that fight.
Yeah, and you can see Impact in top lane on Udyr is just immovable. He's got a Baron buff as well, so this turret's getting taken down. They're just keeping the pressure on Shopify as well, making it even more difficult for them to contest this dragon. Weirdly enough, Impact being top lane is just pulling someone up towards top lane, which then pulls them away from the dragon. So I do like what Team Liquid's doing here with this Baron buff. Stacking gold, 4,500 gold Baron power play is well above average, but it's also preparing them to take the Hextech Soul soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's in 10 seconds. The package is available though, so Shopify, I don't think you can convince me that you can give this up and still win the game. You know, you've got to be fighting for this soul. But Impact is just trying to draw everyone to top lane.
And what's FakeGod going to do?
Not much. He's probably going to have to give the inhib. He's going to have to back it up.
He's going to die?
If he gets too low, it's going to be problems because Impact could even TP into the fight. He's overheated.
I guess I'll just die?
Chasing him down. Doesn't have the ghost quite yet, but FakeGod in so much trouble. Does have to flash back, and it's going to be about the fight at the dragon. The rejection there from Umti, going to be able to knock away Insanity. They're going to be able to finish this off, but Bugi's in there. It's a smite fight.
Oh, he stole it!
And Bugi steals it. Umti with the early smite. Keeps their hopes alive in this one, but Impact relentless on the top side, and Umti going to be charging in. Slams Bugi against the wall. There's the disengage ulti from the Nami. Shopify have got to leave, but Insanity's looking for an angle with the baggage, and he goes in over 3, chunks them low. Umti in trouble here, trying to run, but Yeon looking to turn the round. Turtle incredibly low, but he doesn't burn down just yet. Turtle survives, but Insanity does not, as Umti will smash him into the ground. Yeon charging forward with the double, and Impact on the hunt here for Turtle, and you have to think Shopify's time in this game is coming to an end.
It may not be on this push. We'll see. Baron buff is down. The Hextech Soul was denied, but it will be at least the second inhibitor. It was so close to being all over, and it still works out overall for Team Liquid. But man, let me tell you, Spawn and Reignover are probably not very happy right now because there was a level of patience that Team Liquid needed to play with there. Impact was crushing topside.
You didn't need to rush the dragon.
Don't do damage to the dragon.
Yeah.
Just wait for Shopify to do something to you. But in this 4v4, they just start fighting. It allows dragon to be stolen. Then as they're chasing through again, they actually get a turn, land a bubble, burst down APA, and it looks like it could actually turn a little bit in Shopify's favor. But because Yeon positioned well enough throughout the fight, because they have Zeri Lulu at 35 minutes, they're going to be able to win that fight.
Yep, exactly. It's very difficult. When Turtle gets chunked out early, it's really only Insanity that can kill him. But you have to get through barrier, you have to get through heal, you have to get Lulu shield, Lulu ult. You know, the Azir is ulting you away. The Poppy's stunning you up and running at you. So it's very difficult for them to actually get enough damage to finish him off. Malignance is now finished there. LDR done as well for Turtle. So some big completions on that side. But of course, on the other side, it's 4 items for Yeon. It is a really strong Azir here as well, and TL are on the push.
Look at all those lines in Yeon's health bar. He had like almost 3,000 health when you include the shields.
Yep.
Plus the shield bow afterwards. It's a very, very hard guy to kill at this stage in the game.
I mean, he's got Wit's End, that's 50 MR. He's got 300 health from his Hex Plate, and he does have a 440 shield that's going to proc the shield bow, plus the Lulu, plus the barrier, plus the heal, plus his team healing for him. It is a lot of damage you'd have to deal to be able to actually get him. So it's not even just about landing the rockets for Insanity. He's got to weave the rockets in onto the right targets. Because if you're just hitting Impact or Umti, they're getting shielded up. It doesn't even really matter. Yeah,
and the magic dance, especially Udyr, right? The turtle shield as well as the Galio W he has from his Rookborn. Never going to be able to pronounce that properly. But it's a lot of shielding in MR. It's just going to make the missiles useless.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. We'll see, though, if they can make some magic happen. Shopify definitely not going down without a fight. They have been aggressive. They have been proactive throughout the game, trying to make things happen. But TL has kind of just been wax on, wax off. They've been equal to the test at every turn. Shopify getting good trades, but TL never giving more than just that chunk of health, never giving enough for Shopify to really claim a big advantage. And now it's Yeon and CoreJJ playing bodyguard as APA and Umti are bursting down this Baron. Boogie's got to get here. Turtle trying to dash in, make something happen. The Baron down to 6K. They're still hitting it. It is still getting very low, but Bugi does have flash, so this is risky. There's no vision in the pit for them just yet, though. And look at Impact in the back line, and Turtle is just gone already. Impact wreaking havoc. APA flashing forward, doesn't find the ulti. FakeGod gonna look to turn here with the equalizer, but it's gonna be too little. It's gonna be too late. Insanity trying to kite back, trying to poke them down. Does have a big one, threads it through onto Umti, but it just doesn't matter. TL have done it, TPing into the base, looking to finish this off. It's APA. Zeyzal's gone. It's the double, and it's Impact charging in, looking for the ace. TL will get it and will secure their first win of the season, taking down Shopify Rebellion.
Big win for Team Liquid. A relieving win for Team Liquid, avoiding the 0-2 start. First win for Umti on this Team Liquid team. Big hugs towards APA towards the end of that one. As you mentioned, a lot of control for Team Liquid throughout this game. They had to play a decent amount of defense at the start of the game, but ultimately were in control. And just a perplexed look on Insanity's face after that one, because unfortunately, they are the ones starting 0-2, something both of these teams were trying to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough strength schedule, you have to say.